Hi, my name is Jessica. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I'm going to do the story with my ex contest that Trey Melvin started. Before I start this, I want to explain my little fascination that I have with superheroes and the reason why. And it started because of my ex, actually. She told me that I was her superhero. I had saved her from this little depression, cutting herself thing that she had going on, and I didn't think I was the reason, but she told me that I was, and I don't like taking credit for things like that, but she wants me to. So and till today, she's still she I'm the reason why she feels the way she feels, and the reason why she stopped doing certain things, and so I feel great. I feel thankful, but I don't like taking credit for that. But she thinks that I should, and I'm gonna run with it. So and recently I've fallen into my own stages of depression, and I feel like I'm stuck in my own mind, and it's been kind of hard for me. But I became my own superhero. I'm saving myself still, and the only reason why is because I feel like there's nobody there to save me. But I have people that I talk to. I have friends that I talk to. I have family that I talk to. It's just sometimes it's not enough, because you live in your own mind so for so long. It's so hard for me to know that to talk to and to put my mind on something when my mind is somewhere else. But yeah. So the story with Max. So it starts when I was last year, 19. I worked at a restaurant that oh, let me get this off first. We're not gonna go by names here because I don't want to get in trouble with nobody. I'm not gonna start any more drama. So I will go as Superman, and my ex will be my kryptonite. So um, I had met kryptonite at the restaurant that I worked at because she started working there, and we hit it off. I mean, I didn't know that she was a lesbian. I didn't know she was bisexual. I didn't know anything about her. All I knew is that she was cool. So me, her, and my best friend, we'll call him Flash. And so Flash had been my friend for a year and a half by that time, and me and him were so cool with each other. We knew each other so well. We would literally read each other's minds sometimes. It was so weird. Like, we could know what each other's thinking. We know how each other feels, and it was just weird. So uh, Kryptonite had actually liked the Flash, and she was kind of like all over him, and I was like, oh well, let me walk over here. Like, they're gonna go that way, I'm gonna go that way, right? So I didn't want to get in between that. I didn't want to be the third wheel, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just walk away. But Kryptonite always found a way to bring me back and just be like, hey, come here, hang out with us, or this and that, talk to us, whatever, blah blah. So I'm over here thinking like, she wants to hook up with him. Why am I gonna get between that, right? So Kryptonite had actually brought in her best friend, who started working with us as well. Her best friend actually liked another one of my best friends, and we're gonna call him Batman. So she was all over him. So I was just like, well, I'm kind of stuck in the middle here. I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna chill, right? So Flash had some parties, and he was like, we should invite these new people, and I'm like, cool. But things kind of happened at these parties, and I was one of those ones that was just kind of backed off of it. I wasn't a buzzkill, but I was like, I don't want to drink that, or smoke that. I'm not gonna smoke this, but I would find my way to kind of ease out of certain things. And so Flash was like, well, if we're gonna invite all these people, there's gonna be more people than we usually have at these parties, and we would always have coworkers. It was always coworkers, but it was a lot this time. So I was just like, oh, well, how about we babysit? And by that, it was me, Flash, and Batman. We're gonna babysit people that don't know their tolerance level, um, and we weren't gonna drink. And we were like, okay, that's fine. So it was a pool party. So we all went swimming, we were all hanging out. Kryptonite was all over Flash, and she was actually the ones that I was supposed to babysit because I was the only girl between the two guys. Um, the guys took care of the guys, and then I took care of the girls. And so Kryptonite's best friend was all over Batman, and then Kryptonite was all over Flash, and I'm over here like, you know what? Let them go do what they want to do, take care of everybody else. That didn't work out. So Kryptonite actually started coming on to me, and she was just like hugging me and stuff like that and everything, and she was like, I had gotten, because I had her phone, so I had gotten text messages from her mom. Her mom was like, you have to come home, so I, of course I had to take her home, but she was intoxicated, so I had dropped her off, and she called me like not even 3 to 4 minutes later, right when I was leaving her house, calls me and starts talking to me on the phone. I'm like, are you okay? She was like, yeah, I feel better now. Can you tell me what happened? It was like a whole bunch of just different drama and stuff. And Kryptonite, she was asking me about her best friend, so I was telling her, oh, well, she was with Batman, and they were hanging out and this and that. So week passes by, we were working. Next party comes. Next party, I had gotten to know Kryptonite's best friend more. So we were getting along very well, and I was, wasn't in the mood. Some things had happened at home, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna chill. So I was sitting on the edge of, the Flash's patio. I was sitting on the side of it, and Kryptonite's best friend comes and she hugs me, and she's like, okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And she's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. It's whatever. I'm just thinking. And so she kisses me on the cheek, and Kryptonite is behind me, sitting at a table with our other friends, and she kind of looks and she's like, okay, what the heck, right? So her best friend goes with Batman, and they're hanging out, and I get up and I sit at the table, and Kryptonite's looking at me like, what the hell? And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on, right? So she was drinking a little bit, and of course I was babysitting, and then I had to take her home because I was getting more messages from her mom telling me she needs to go home. So I take her home and drop her off, and I come back. Again, calls me, tells me what, she was like asking me what was going on, and then she goes, so what's going on with you, my best friend? And I'm like, whoa, like wait a minute. And she's like, yeah, like I don't like that she kissed you. I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't like that? She's like, I don't like that she kissed you because I like you. I'm like, whoa, like what? It's like, I was like, but I was like, honestly, like I told her straight up, I was like, I thought you liked the Flash, and she was like, no, I mean he's cute and everything, but I don't like him like that. I actually like you. And I'm like, okay, like for me this was weird because me and Flash are we're two different people, but we have similarities, but we look totally different. So for me it was just like, okay. And then so she started telling me some stuff, and she was like telling me that she was getting jealous every time that I would hug somebody else. She would get jealous every time her best friend would kiss me on my cheek, or when I would mess around with other people, because at work, of course, you're at work with people you get along with, of course you're gonna be messing around everywhere. And so at the restaurant we would mess around, smack each other in the butt. We would pretend, some of us would pretend we were dating each other, and it was just a whole bunch of different things. And so she told me that she liked me, so I was like, wow. Like, for me it was just amazing, because she was so attractive and she was beautiful, and I thought that I thought that Flash was gonna go after her, but Flash thought that she was too young and was like, no, I'm not gonna, I don't like her like that. So I was just like, okay. So we talked for hours, and then so she fell asleep. And the next day I talked to Flash, and I'm like, hey Flash, this happened, this and this happened. He's like, what, for real? Like, even he couldn't believe it. Like, that was weird. So he was just like, well, you know what, you should go after her. I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah, just go see what happens. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I was basically getting permission. I wanted to see what he thought before I told him anything. So he was just like, no, go ahead. I don't like her like that. You can go after her if you want to. That's not me. So I was like, all right, cool. So me and Kryptonite started talking more, and rumors started, and the good and the bad thing is that I was leaving. I was going on vacation for like 3 weeks, and I was gonna be gone for a while. So I had heard like a few rumors, and people were started talking mess about my best friend. I was like, what the heck? So I told my best friend while I was gone, I was like, hey, keep me in touch. Let me know what happened. And he was like, all right, cool, I got you. So I left and I went to Vegas, and me and Kryptonite were still talking. We're still texting each other. We're still seeing what's up and everything. And she was just like, I'm catching feelings for you, and I don't know how to deal with them and stuff like that. So I was like, what do you mean? She was like, you're the first girl I've ever liked. You're the first girl that I've ever had a crush on. You're the first girl that I've ever wanted to be with, and this and that. And I'm like, wow, like I'm over here, like my mind is being blown because I've never had somebody want me so bad, you know. Um, I had been with previous girls before that want me, but with her it was totally different. I felt like I was catching feelings, and I told her, I was like, I feel like I'm falling in love with you, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And but for her it was different because she hadn't came. She was bisexual. I guess she was bi curious or something. And me, I'm a straight up lesbian. I told her, I was like, you know, I already came out to my family, or I already came out to the people most important to me. I already came out to them. And so she was just like, well, I have to. And I'm like, what? And so she was like, a week before I came back, she was like, I have to tell my mom, I have to tell my mom. Because I guess she was bottling up all these feelings, and she started falling into, or she already had depression issues. So I guess that depression was coming back to her. And so, and that anxiety and all that other stuff was coming back to her. So she was just like, I have to tell them. I was like, well, she goes, do you think it's a good idea? And I told her, I was like, honestly, it's up to you. If you feel like you have to tell them, you should tell them. So she was like, okay. And so she told her parents. Her parents got mad. Like, they got super mad, super mad. And they told her that she could not see me anymore. She couldn't talk to me anymore. She couldn't have any type of communication with me anymore. So I felt devastated. I was like, wow. So I was just like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? She was like, I'm in love with you. I can't do anything about it. And so I was like, for me, that was like, wow, like that was wow. Next day, coming to find out, she was cutting herself after she got off the phone with me that night. She had cut herself in her shoulder. She had cuts on her thighs, and I was just like, I mean, that's so painful for me to hear that somebody I love, somebody I care for, cutting themselves. And the only reason why it hurt more that she was doing it is because I had a family member that was really close to me, and I didn't notice that cutting herself too. And so I felt so sad, and I felt so hopeless. I felt so, I don't even know how to explain it. I just felt like I couldn't do anything, and I cried. I cried that night when she told me. And a few days later, I was leaving back to Houston, and she calls me, and I'm at the airport. Our flight was delayed an hour, so she calls me and she's telling me, she's like, I cut myself. And I was like, why? And she was just like, I don't know. I felt like I needed to. I felt like I can't feel anything that I needed to feel pain. I'm just like, oh my God. Like, in my head, I'm just like, what? Why? I'm praying to God. I'm like, why are you doing this? Why? What is going on? So I told her, I was like, let me see. And she was like, no. And I'm like, no, let me see. She was like, no, I can't. And I was already crying. I was like, I beg you, let me see what you just did. And she would, we were FaceTiming, so she showed me the cuts in her arm, and she would show me the cuts in her legs, and she had cuts in her stomach. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't even, I didn't even know what to say. I was just like, wow. So she finally calmed down after talking to me, and I was still upset, but I had to get on this plane, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning from Vegas to Houston. So of course I passed out. I cried and I just passed out in the airplane. And I finally got back. That day, I wasn't gonna work that day, so I wasn't supposed to work that day. And I showed up. I actually went to the job. I went to the restaurant, and um, my manager's daughter was there, and all I hear is my manager's daughter's like, "She's back," and Kryptonite had told me that when she heard, manager's daughter say that she's back, she like she dropped. She got so happy, like she dropped something, and it was funny. And I was just like, okay. And I walk in, and of course, cause she's a little girl. My manager's daughter came and ran up to me. She gave me a hug. And then Kryptonite came and she was like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey," and so she just gave me a hug, and I'm just like I felt complete, I felt like, wow, this is love, right? So I felt so loved and so cared for, and I told her, I was like, "Hey, will you meet me outside when you're done, taking this order out?" She was like, "Yeah." So I said hi to everybody else, and then I was like, "Oh, you know what? I brought gifts." So I went back to my car, but honestly, it was just for me to go back. I went back to my car, and she was right. She came, and I told her, because I'm so old school, I like the whole face to face when you ask somebody. I don't like the whole text me, like, "Do you want to be with me?" or something. I don't like that. So I told her, I looked into her eyes, and I told her, "Will you be my girlfriend?" And she said yes. And that's when that relationship started. But we had been talking for, I want to say, 2 months. We had been talking for 2 months, but I had asked her out 2 months later. So that was actually the first time that I ever done that. Usually I'll talk to somebody for like a week and then I'll ask them out. But with her, I wanted to take my time. I wanted to get to know her. I wanted to know what her dislikes, her likes. And I learned all of that. And I feel like I know her. Until today, I still know her inside and out. And it's so scary how I know everything she feels and I know everything she says and I know when she's lying. I know when she's not. So crazy. So I um I had went to work the next day. The next day she wasn't working, but my best friend Flash was. So Flash was like, "Hey, I gotta tell you something." I'm like, "Okay, what's going on?" She was like, "There's some rumors started." He was like, "There's some rumors, some rumors started," and it was from this guy. And this guy, we're gonna call him Hater. That's what he was. He was a fucking hater. Sorry, excuse my language, but he was a hater. And so Hater was um, starting rumors saying that me, Flash, and Batman, us three, would get everyone else, every all the other girls. We would get Kryptonite. We would get her best friend. We would get all the other girls that we used to work with. We would get them drunk, intoxicated, and we would take advantage. He said that. And what's funny is that Hater would be at those same parties with us, and he knew what everybody was doing. He would see what everybody else was doing, and he said that we would take advantage of them. He said that we would go and touch them. We would go and kiss them at a random and everything. So that rumor started. That rumor hurt me because he was cool. He was a friend, but after that, I got tired of it, and so he didn't know that me and Kryptonite were dating. But Kryptonite's best friend did, and Flash and Batman did. So Hater goes up to Kryptonite. It was maybe a day later when they were working together. Hater goes up to Kryptonite and is like, "Hey, you shouldn't date Superman. Superman's over there. He's over there trying to get you. She's over there trying to get you, drunk and stuff, and take advantage of you. And she's over there gonna, she's gay, right? She's gonna try to rape you and stuff." I'm just like, when Kryptonite told me that, I was just like, wow. I was like, what? Like, how can somebody like Hater talk about me like that? And I'm just like, I was just like, I'm done. And I got so frustrated with him. I got so mad, and he started more rumors about Flash, more rumors about Batman. He told Kryptonite's best friend that Batman had went and did it with other girls that we were working with. And so it was just a whole different, it was just so much crap that started. And me and Kryptonite were dating for a while. And a month later, a month into the relationship, Kryptonite tells me we're done. Over a text message. Over a text message. Telling me we're done. Mind you, this is Sunday. I was at church. She was texting me. And at church, the church that I go to, we do the ceremony and or the sermon, and after that we go eat. So I was eating, and she was texting me this, telling me that we were done. She couldn't go out with me anymore, and I asked her why, and she told me that we didn't have time for each other. And I was just like, we work with each other. Like, how do we not have time with each other? But I was like, okay. I was like, all right, cool. So I left it at that. Well, with the text messages, I left it at that because like I said, I'm old school. You have to break up with me in my face. So I went to the job after church, and literally like 3 hours later, I was supposed to come into work. So I went in with my church clothes, go in, and I'm like, I need to talk to you. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I need to talk to you. And she was like, yeah, okay. So I told my manager, I was like, hey, I'm gonna talk to you real quick, and then we're good. And she's like, okay. So I go take her to the back. Of course, haters over there looking at what's going on. So I put myself, because Hater had started other rumors saying that I would beat girls up, that I was very abusive. It's still pissing me off to today. He said that I was abusive, that I would hit girls and hit guys because I was a lesbian. I was able to do whatever I wanted to. So, whatever. And so I put myself against the wall, and I put my hands to my side, and I told her, I was like, hey, you broke up with me, right? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I don't do text messages. You have to break up with me in my face. You have to tell me right now that we're done. And she looked at me, then she looked down, looking down, we're done. I looked at her like, we're what? Like, I'm trying to get her to look in my eyes, because that's how I know when people are lying. And I'm trying to get her, and she could not look at me in the eyes. She could not, and tell me we're over. She kept saying, we're over. I was like, okay. I was like, fine, well, that's how you feel? Alright. So, before this, we had actually talked about, because we were getting to know each other, talked about when we should know when to go after somebody, or when we should know when to go after each other, you know? So, I walked out the back door. I walked out the back door of the restaurant, and I actually leaned against the wall, and I let the door close. And I saw the door close, and I'm like, okay. I was like, okay. So I walked away, and I got into my car. And I went home, and I cried. I laid in bed, and I cried. And I felt like everything was just coming down next to me. And I was having issues with my dad and my mom, and they were fighting, of course, and all I could hear was them. So I put my headphones on, and I passed out, and then 3 hours later I woke up. I went to work, and she wasn't there. She actually had left 30 minutes before I got there. So I was like, okay, cool. So my manager knew me, and so did Flash. They knew who I was. So they knew something happened. So they were like, what happened? They were asking me, what's going on? And I told them what happened, and they were mad. My manager kind of didn't like her, but Flash hated her now. And Kryptonite's best friend was there, so I told her, and she was just like, that's so wrong for her, that's so wrong. So a month passed by, and I texted her, because it was her birthday, and so like a day after her birthday, I told her happy birthday, and then a day after her birthday, I told her, I was like, hey, I feel like there's something more, can you tell me the real reason why you broke up with me? She told me that the real reason she broke up with me was because I was a problem. I was a problem for her. I was a problem for her family. That I was causing so much of a problem between her and her parents that she couldn't handle it anymore, so she had to break up with me. And I'm just like, wow. In my mind, I was like, how can somebody just say that? How can somebody follow what other people are saying, even though they're so wrong about it, and just go with it and just say that was their idea. You know, like, I don't know. I felt so betrayed. I felt so sad. I felt so ashamed. I felt worthless because I wasn't that person that her parents wanted for her. You know, I wasn't that guy, that Prince Charming that they wanted for her. So a few months later, a few months passed by. Uh, Now it's a year. Now we're in 2015. Now, a few months ago. Now, um, she started talking to me again. She started talking to me again. And I felt happy, but I had gone through so much. I hadn't dated anybody after her. Still haven't dated anybody after her. Um, and she just started talking to me like nothing happened. And like, for me, that's so, like, I guess she's that type of person where she can let things go easily. But with me, it wasn't so easy, you know, because she was somebody she was somebody I needed, and yet she left like nothing. But now she comes back like nothing happened, you know. And she was talking to me. It was like she was trying to be my best friend. She wanted me to be her best friend. She even told me I was her best friend. She told me that I was somebody that she can talk to, that she can go to whenever she needs somebody. And it I didn't get it. I didn't understand. I was just like, wow, like, you can come back to me and just nothing happened, right? So now, you know, recently, we hung out, and my friend Flash thinks that I'm stupid. He thinks I'm crazy. He's like, why are you still talking to this girl? Why are you letting her do these things to you? And I realized that she was my superhero. She was somebody that I needed to be there so that I could feel good about myself. And now it's like, I feel like I've learned my lesson. I hope that I've learned my lesson. And so Kryptonite is actually would talk to me about her ex, and would talk to me because she dated somebody after me. So she would talk to me about him. She would, you know, cry to me about him. She would you know, talk so much crap about him to me, and she would talk about all the guys that she was talking to, and I would talk to her, and she would get so jealous about anybody I was talking to. She would just be like, why are you talking to this person? This person's such a bitch. This person is this, this person's that. But yet she wouldn't let me talk. Like, she would talk to me about her guys, but wouldn't want me to talk about the girl that I was talking to. So recently, actually, it was like a day or two ago, she told me that she got back with her ex, and I told her, good for you, I'm happy for you. She told me, what, you don't sound happy, because it was during all this on the text message. So she was like, you don't sound happy. I'm like, like, in my head, I'm like, what? Like, why? Like, in my head, I'm just like, why should I be happy? I'm your ex. Like, she doesn't see that. She doesn't get it. I'm her ex, and she does not understand that. She doesn't understand that I'm her ex. But she sees me as her friend now, so I'm just like, I was like, in my head, I was like, you know what, I'm done. I told her, I was like, okay. I was like, why should I be happy? You know, but what happens between you two is between you two. It's not me, you know, not me, you and him. It's you and him. And I told her, I was like, I'm just here to be your Dr. Phil. And by that, I mean, I'm here to be your counselor. I'm here to be somebody for you. So she's like, thank you. And she still has yet to text me back. So Kryptonite is back with her ex. So I'm pretty sure I won't be talking to Kryptonite anytime soon. But I'm still looking. I'm still wanting to fall in love again with somebody else and move on. And I feel like if I don't move on, I'm gonna be stuck